Now, this video's title is a bit ominous. Keep your friends close, but not too close. Sounds like, a bit paranoid or anything like that. Promise I'm not. But it's just my lived experience with friends. Um, in my experience, um, what I've seen, what I've been through, um, that's honestly the best way you can do some friendships. In my experience, you probably have only one or two friends in your life that will actually go to the ends of the earth for you and help you out no matter what and stick by you. I've only found, yeah, one to two people like that, one of them being my, partner. Um, and the other one being, yeah, just a good friend, and that's only two people. But yeah, in my experience, I've had friends come and go. Um, and I have other friends, but they're friends, but I am not gonna trust them with my life. And I think that's okay. Um, I feel like everybody wants those friendships that are like, I can trust you with my life, and then they'll be in a massive friend group and they'll all be saying that to each other, and it's kind of just unreasonable because that's not really true. Um, but I feel like people do want like a nice big friend group that they believe they can trust, which is nice, and I've had that to an extent. But in my experience, when things get a little difficult in a friend group like that, it tends to fall apart, and then the people you once um, thought valued you no longer do. So yeah, it's hard not to be specific when talking about um, kind of lived experiences and stuff like that. Um, but I'll try my best. I've had two instances of kind of friendship groups or friends falling apart um, out of just certain circumstances and everything like that. Um, First one was when I was in university. I was coming to the tail end. I had a really nice friend group, um, and it was, but yeah, it was going pretty well. Um, and then one night I went out drinking with some friends and came back. And I kind of felt uncomfortable after the night and kind of just expressed my feelings towards two friends in the group, saying like, "Hey, you did something that made me uncomfortable, and or you were unsafe." Um, and then yes, I proceeded to get berated and stuff like that, and nasty rumors spread about me, um, basically, and basically people that I thought were my friends uh, turns out had problems with me or were like, oh, well, I didn't like him anyway, so kind of just abandoned me. And it was only a couple friends that stuck around, but you know, more or less, yeah, didn't want to have anything to do with me, and which sucked, because it was a horrible feeling discovering that people that you thought were essentially you were friends with dropping you at the earliest sign of inconvenience. It just seemed like that friendship group was a group of convenience. When you're good and you don't accidentally or intentionally make any waves, it's good and they'll be friends with you. But if it gets a little difficult or you need a little help understanding things, it doesn't work for them. They drop you. Um, I feel like that's from what I've seen in a lot of like friend groups nowadays. There'll be a extremely tight knit group of friends, and then as soon as it gets a little difficult, they'll distance themselves from people that they deem difficult. The other instance I had was a lot more heartbreaking. Had a really close friend of mine who was the type of person who said, oh, like I'll, be with you forever, and it'll grow old together. It sounds like a relationship, but it wasn't. But one of those friends who was like, yes, we're brothers, kind of deal. And basically, we butted head a few times just on miscommunication. Just because I'm not particularly an organized person, but I would be late to things and stuff like that, and he would consider that a slight against him. My lateness in things was comparable to how I perceived him, which was not at all true. I was just late because, I was late. It happens. And honestly, I got better, but it kind of went back a bit when I got a girlfriend, because, she's less organized and is late, makes me late, which, look, I don't mind, because I know how difficult it can be to get up in the morning and do stuff like that. But in turn, she would make me late to things because, I have to wake her up and wait around for her to get ready, which is, again, like I said, fine. But then, when we were late, he, again, took that as a slight against him. Yeah, and so it just kind of piled up, and that was just one example. I'm not going to go into nitty-gritty details because I don't need to do that. And yeah, but it got to the point in the friendship where it just came to a head, and we like me and another friend, it was like a trio, kind of distanced ourselves from him, because he started making these kind of demands, and it got to a stage where we realized we couldn't win because he said a certain word of like, oh, this word means this, and I was like, oh, well, no, actually the proper definition is this. Like, it was like it was something that I like needed to do, like accountability. And then we said, no, that's not what that word means. And he goes, oh, that's just it. That's what that means in my family. And we're like, okay. But that's well and good and all, but that doesn't change that you're intentionally miscommunicating with us. And at that point, we just realized we couldn't win. Not win, sounds bad. We couldn't communicate effectively, which is very important in a friendship. And that friend recently tried to not come back into my life, but try to come back into my other friend's life. And was essentially, and love my friend to death because essentially this other friend came in and they had lunch together, and he said, oh, look, I don't mind if you're friends with, Nebs, but, and then my friend just proceeded to, talk smack, oh, I don't mind if you're friends with Nebs, but proceeds to explain why you shouldn't be friends with Nebs. Which was, he just found very uncomfortable, and he was like, this is not okay. And then they decided to not be friends. But all in all, that long-winded story, ultra personal thing, I don't know if I'll leave in or cut out, basically is just my experience in that friendships that say they will last rarely do. I've only found one of my friendships to actually last, because we just communicate effectively and we don't use those grandeur words of like, oh, we'll like be friends forever and stuff like that. But you know, we know it. Well, I kind of feel it. I don't say it. Because you know, there's really no need to. If you have a friendship that will stand the test of time, I don't think any of you need to say it. I feel like if you have a solid friendship, yeah, none of you need to say that it'll be last forever and you'll be sitting there with your kids one day, blah 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 blah. It's fine. You guys will figure it out. And these things just happen naturally. You'll find someone you really gel with, and you'll be friends. But sometimes you'll gel with someone, but they won't quite gel with you, and that's okay. It sucks, but that's okay. And like I said, I had 2 instances of thinking, man, these guys are going to be really good friends for a long time, and being, you know, that being not the case. Which again, like I said, that sucks. But essentially, it is what it is. And honestly, in this day and age, like your best friend for life will probably be someone you end up, you know, partnered with or married. That kind of ends up being your best friend. That's why I said I had 2, because I count my girlfriend in that. But yeah, I think I've said enough. Probably said a little too much. But yeah, I'll see how this cuts together. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you want a certain topic to be covered in the next video, just leave it in the comments below. Thank you for all the support on my last video. We'll see how this one goes. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.